Hey there guys, welcome back. This is the witchy vlog for the Witchling manifestation. If you want to know the meanings in depth, then check out the connecting to video, but to quickly recap, it's literally about your own ability to manifest your awareness of the here and now and embracing the energies that you want to embrace. And I did talk a lot about dance in the initial connecting to video. So I was going to make this video yesterday, but out of respect for Robin Williams, I decided not to. And I'm not going to be making a video about Robin Williams. I honour who he was in life and not the mode of his passing. I agree that raising awareness for depression is a very important cause. I suffer from it and my family members suffer from it, so it's something which is close to my heart. But there's a lot going on around the matter of his death. Some people are turning it into something negative. There's been calling him names, this, that and the other, and for me the focus isn't on how I feel about certain issues. It's not how I feel about him passing, which is very sad. If you wanted to know how I feel about it, it was very sad for me. He was part of a lot of growing up memories for me. Going to the cinema, the first ever cinema trip I went to was with my grandma to see Ferngully, and he's in that place, Batty. So growing up I have a lot of memories of him, but I choose to honour who he was in life, and other than mentioning it here, I'm not going to draw attention to myself because of the passing of a great man. So this week, it's been an interesting old week, and I think, as often happens with these cards, sometimes they challenge your ability to do certain things or access certain things in order to make you appreciate your ability to do it. That means that everything has felt a bit like a slog this week. It's been the supermoon, and the moon does do strange things to us. Some people feel very, very empowered. Some people feel quite drained. I was drained this time. I feel more alive in the dark moon when I connect with the Morrigan, and although I embraced the energies, honoured the energies, performed my Esbat workings and this, that and the other, crystal charging, cleansing and charging, I was very tired with it as well, and I've had some very, very lucid dreams this week, very lucid dreams, and interestingly enough the manifestation has come through things like that, so it has been a challenging card this week. So we'll start with the quote, which is, "Come out of the masses, stand alone like a lion, and live your life according to your own light." Oshu with the lion image. There has been a lot of lion imagery, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So then I wrote down the "I am marked Morrigan" rededication, reconfirmation, invocation, however you wish to view it. And then some of my thoughts at the start of the week. Don't mistake spitefulness for honesty. Don't mistake nastiness for bravery. Don't mistake cruelty for advice, and never applaud passive-aggressive behaviour. Hawk had been following me in meditation again. Hawk is a spiritual messenger. It's often a message of rising above. The people who are meant to be in your life will always gravitate back towards you no matter how far they wandered. Twin Flame Sacred Keys. Early this week I went to the holistic shop and came back with some more lepidolite, ruby and lepidolite, and strawberry quartz. I haven't actually written down the lepidolite meanings in here because I know them. It's a stone of transformation, it's a stone of facilitating change, it sort of supports you on a spiritual, physical and emotional level whilst you are emerging or transforming. Strawberry quartz assists in living consciously and joyfully. It teaches you how to find humour in all situations and bring divine love into everything you do. So again, these crystals tied in perfectly to the energy of the week. Manifestation teaches us that living in the here and now is very important. The focusing of your attention in order to manifest things. Spiritually insightful, strawberry quartz enables a discovery during meditation of why the circumstances of your current or present incarnation were chosen and the karmic gifts you brought to it. Intense energy for dream recall, understanding the message within dreams, etc. So I've had, like I said, I've had a lot of strong visualization dreams this week. Some of them were not very pleasant and some of them were pretty awesome. The pretty awesome one, I had a labyrinth style dream and it was amazing. So again, there's been a lot of lion imagery this week. We are in Leo August, so I guess that makes sense. Also, the following quote was beneath one of the lion pictures: the symbol of personal strength and courage. The lion spirit animal is generally associated with a representation of personal strength. If it appears powerful to you, then its presence as a spirit guide can be interpreted as a positive representation of your self-confidence or personal power. As such, lions point to the qualities of strength, courage and assertiveness, but can also warn against being too dominant in your relationships with others. It warns against challenges, but of course you have the ability to overcome them. Lion imagery for me is often associated with the Strength card in Tarot. The Wild Unknown card for Strength has a lion with a rose in its mouth. And I guess as well, lions do tie in to Englishness, oddly enough, because of the symbol of the lion being very much associated with England. I'm not a person who considers myself particularly English or proud of being English in a lot of ways. I love the land. The land and the nature and the seasons, beautiful. Just about everything else, not so pleased about. The goal of life is not to arrive at the grave safely in a well-preserved body, but rather to skid in sideways, totally worn out, shouting, "Holy shit, what a ride!" Rebel Circus. The greatest fear in the world is opinions of others. The moment you are unafraid of the crowd, you are no longer a sheep. You become a lion. Wild Woman Sisterhood. Now, is that the last lion? Yeah. Oh no. Let's read this one. The lion never loses sleep over the opinions of others. I suppose that was supposed to be sheep, maybe. More lion imagery. And don't give in to mob mentality or the opinions of the spiteful. So, the lion imagery actually ties back to what I was mulling over at the start of the week. Don't mistake spitefulness for honesty. Don't mistake don't mistake my words for Englishness. Right? Don't mistake spitefulness for honesty. Don't mistake nastiness for bravery. Don't mistake cruelty for advice, and never applaud passive-aggressive behaviour. These are things that often happen when we feel pressured by the crowd, by the sheep. Dun, 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 dun. So there's an element of lion imagery, personal courage imagery, strength imagery, a warning against fear regarding opinions of others, and being a sheep. I myself have never enjoyed the idea of being a sheep, being part of a clique, going along with what everyone says just because it's the mob mentality. When I was growing up, I left a group of girls that were like that, and it, at the time, was this huge deal that I hung around with people less popular than them because they were better, nicer people. It broke the girl gang apart because I refused to be picked on ever again, and was earth-shattering at the time. Teenage girls, I guess. And to me it was just natural. It was like, well, if why would you hang around with people that are picking on one particular person? It tended to be that the whole group singled on one person for a week or two, and most people put up with it and were upset, and then were taken back into the group, and it was usually the same ringleaders. It was the ringleaders were never the ones being picked on, and they did it to me once, and that was the last time I hung around with them. So I've never liked it, even as a teenage girl. And I mean, if you have been a teenage girl, then you know, and if you haven't, then you've been a teenager. So I'm assuming that similar experiences can be gleaned here. But there's a huge pressure at that age to fit in, and it does actually happen later on. There's this sort of myth that most people grow up out of school mentality, and unfortunately it doesn't really happen like that. I've worked in places and it's clique mentality, and I've seen it here, there and everywhere. And I don't know if I wrote this, I didn't write this quote down. There was a quote on Rebel Circus, which was, I'd rather be an honest asshole than I'd rather be a hated asshole and honest than a well-liked liar. And although I try my best not to be an asshole, well, I'm sure we are all assholes at some point, that mentality, that statement is something I hold very true to. I don't like sugary sweet fake liars pretending to be everybody's best friend, yada yada yada. I just don't like it, and I think the lion imagery is literally this week being stick to the courage to be who you are in the face of group mentality. Sheep. What has that got to do with manifestation? Well, basically, I was reading the quote, we do not attract what we want, we attract who we are. And I'm going to write that down because I thought I had written it down. Apparently I have not. Maybe I wrote that in the original. Who we are. So we do not attract what we want, we attract what we are. And it's basically a interesting sentiment about the vibration that we put out. It's not always true, because even if we're trying to be the best we can be, we're still going to attract and be put through situations and people which are less than desirable. So the idea that if you are upbeat all the time, you will never have a bad day in your life and you will never attract someone who's horrible to you is nonsense. It just doesn't work that way. I fully congratulate anybody who can be positive a lot, all the time, but it doesn't seem realistic for me. I don't know if it's being a Virgo, like overcritical mind, or I don't know if it's being a warrior of Morrigan in sort of preparation or whatever. But for me, the balance of life is to accept that there will be positive days and negative days, There will be people that you vibe with, and then there will be people that you don't get on with, and that's just the way of it. However, the idea that we do not attract what we want, but we attract who we are, is a very powerful thing. If we have a very negative mindset, if we believe that the worst is going to happen, then it usually does. I've seen it happen with my mother. I berate my partner for it because he's a worst case scenario kind of guy. I'm like, no, 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 and just take a wet fish and smack him with it. Not really. But it's positive reinforcement. You've got to see the silver linings in difficult situations. You've got to overcome. You've got to keep going. Because if you just give in to the negative situations, you become a sheep, not a lion, and you'll just keep attracting negative nonsense into your life, more stress, more drama. You are who you associate with. You are who you are inside, and all the sugary sweet fakeness isn't going to change that, in my opinion. Obviously, this is my vlog, my diary. So then there's a standing stone circle, which was about moon and thunder, honouring the energies of the supermoon, as well as the fact there had been a lot of storms in England, flooding in Cambridge, which is almost unheard of. Some of the fields were completely flooded when we went to the neighbouring town. Like, the whole fields were water. It was bizarre in the middle of August, I swear. And the following crystals were obviously important. Rainbow moonstone, iolite, sodalite, pietisite particularly, and moonstone and quartz. So the energies of rainbow moonstone that are important to address: inner journeys as well as multi-dimensional journeys. Reminds you that you are part of an ever ongoing unfolding cycle, links you to your soul and life plan, and helps you see the unseen and synchronicities, powerfully attuned to the lunar cycles. Iolite, known as the Twilight Stone, I really wanted to work with it more because dusk is my power time. Vision Stone, intuitive insight, inner knowing at shamanic ceremonies. Melanite, being a magic bearer, shamanic, shaping energy, bringing magic into your life. Sodalite, intuition, spirituality, perception, deepens meditation. Pietisite, the lightning stone, access to higher self and illumination. Moonstone, new beginnings, moon, intuition, cycles of change, empathy, psychic abilities. Quartz, a powerful healer and energy amplifier, absorbs, stores, regulates and releases energy, and is excellent for unblocking it. If you want to see all of those in the standing stone crystal grid, that video is already available. So these energies, again, all tied into one another, and when I'm putting together grids, I have an idea in my head and I go through my crystals and have a feel. Only afterwards do I note how the energies intertwine, and given that I nearly always, in fact always, choose them on intuition, which is true when I buy crystals and it's true when I pick crystals for grids, there is usually a very clear interlocking energy. And for this, it's obvious, you know, you've got cycles of lunar energies tying in with the thunder, storm energies. But storm energies for me, like I said in the water video and in that video, is about change, blasting out of negativity, as well as inward and outward, as well as change in the form of illumination, of insight, of psychic flashes of awareness. And the crystals in the crystal grid all created a mesh, a grid, an energy web, if you like, which all integrated these themes, energies, crystal meanings. I do enjoy very much working with crystals on that basis, and that's the basis that I suggest to most people that they try. I have the crystal Bibles. I know quite a lot of crystal meanings, not all of them. I've worked with quite a lot of crystals, again, not all of them. And I prefer certain crystals to other crystals, but I would always go into a shop and choose on intuition. And when you get home, write down your meanings, note the interlinking synchronicities, the energy similarities, things of that nature. It can often be a huge help with what's going on with you on a spiritual and psychological level. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Martin Luther King Jr. I've been seeing a lot of gold flashes in the corner of my eye this week. I see flashes in the corner of my eye a lot, and I'm in two minds about it, because one, I do suffer with migraines, so sometimes it is symptomatic of migraines. However, the flash today was really gold, and then I've had a few which are blue, and they are a little bit different. They do seem to tend to suggest there might be something psychically going on, an awakening, an awareness, a raising of spirituality perhaps. And obviously when we're on this path, it should be a constant cycle of expanding, exploring, digesting, making sense of, and then on again. You know, we've got to try and see the lesson, learn the lesson, overcome the lesson, and keep going. And that's kind of how, in basic terms, I think of spirituality, in very basic terms. We keep learning the lessons that we need to learn. We have to sort of move past the roadblocks that are causing us problems, and obviously the roadblock to manifestation this week is worrying too much about what people think. The lion imagery and all of that has been like, you know, you have the strength and have had the strength to not worry about what people think. The mob mentality, the nastiness, the spitefulness that can come with it. So sometimes it's quite lonely being this way. I've got to say it, you know, sometimes it can be a little bit of a depression trigger, because there are very limited people who I take into my regular confidence. And I'm truly grateful for my friend who emails me every day. You know who you are. And that's unusual for me because, well, that's okay for me. I don't mind emails every day. It's just when people start going nuts. Dum. I've been doing a lot of work this week on manifestation, and it looks like my partner may get his ideal job. If he gets his ideal job, they have an office in Canada. Just saying. It's interesting how apparently that's what I want, and here's an opportunity. Manifestation. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Not in the way you think it's gonna come. Never ever. So there's no point in, to me, there's no point in planning how you think it's gonna get there, just manifesting that it will. Right, is there anything else we need to cover? I did talk about dance in the original card, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it here because a lot of my dance practice is actually pretty private. Dance is a really fantastic way of self-expression and connecting with deity, divinity, spirituality, the inward spirituality and divinity as well as without. There's something for me which is incredibly moving about the art of dance. I've always just danced as I felt, sort of intuitively, and that's how I prefer, although I did take classes when I was younger. And it is something about taking your own personal power into yourself and manifesting it through dance, even movement, even just, you know, gestures and things are often given spiritual significance. You think of the provocative nature of swearing at someone with your hands or whatever. You can raise emotion, raise reaction and or power basically through even just one simple gesture. It can be an absolutely fantastic tool for getting rid of your own negativity as well as any that may be coming at you. I think if you know, the power of music is well documented, and if you then dance or thrash out or whatever to music, it can really shift you in terms of mood and emotional state, and of course energy state. Then you're shifting your energy through dance. It's a very powerful thing. So I think that's going to be it for today. Apologies for it only being the card rather than the altar, but I've got to sit downstairs because I'm waiting for the delivery man. Yay! Not. So I still wanted to record this, get this recorded, and once the delivery man has been, I will upload it. So that's it for this video. Many blessings.